Okay. So, any questions now? Now that we've played, any challenges, struggles, anything before we move on to the next one? Okay, so I'm just gonna give a couple of notes on Derek's technique, and I'm also gonna ask for Alex. Could you move your screen back a bit because it's a bit too close? I can't see sometimes your leg well enough. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So Derek, what I was noticing, what I was noticing is as you were playing, the angle was a bit, I guess, still, right? He wasn't really moving with the motion. So you were moving back and forth, but we were only using hip and knees and no ankle. So it's a hip, knee, and ankle motion. Everything's got to flow from that top down. So I'll show you my foot here again. So it's not this. It's right. You got, and then that the second one's got a bit of a drop there, right? And that's going to be your ankle that controls that. So although I don't fully relax the foot, I always allow for a little bit of these motions here, that heel bopping up and down. That's very, very important. Okay?
Right.
You see how the heel changes height? That's because the ankle is just nice and loose. I'm not trying to keep that heel raised at all times. Not this. And the reason why I dropped the heel, by the way, is that helps us with stressing that second note. What I was talking about earlier, accenting the second note. So I put a bit of a push there coming from the whole leg, which includes a drop of the heel. Again, not a full drop. I'm not doing this, but there is a bit of a pushing down at the back.
Mm.
Okay? So switch the camera again if you don't mind, and let's take a look at that technique before we move on.
Wrong one. Got it. So we've got
The other way around though. You're bringing the foot back for the second stroke. The foot goes forward.
beat one, then it comes back,
Yeah.
and then forward for the.
Yeah.
So
Let's put that in time though, because that's gonna confuse you if you start changing
yeah.
the rhythm.
So we've got 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E.
Yeah, we're getting the two notes there, right? When you move the foot back. That's because, as we talked about last week, as you move the foot down the pedal, it becomes bouncier. Okay, so if you're starting to get accidental strokes there could be two reasons, and this applies to everyone who might experience this as well. Reason number one, that spring could be too tight, right? So as you bring the foot down the pedal and there's more pedal board exposed, less counterweight on it, which is what your foot creates, right? The counterweight against the spring.
Mm.
Okay, there's less foot on the pedal board, therefore the spring has more power over the beater. Okay, so it starts to bounce back and forth, and then you don't have enough mass at the back, right? When we move the foot down the pedal, we don't have enough mass on the pedal board to create that counterweight against the spring's tension. So problem number one could be the spring is too tight.
Okay.
Problem number two could be the foot's going too far down. It could be also a combination of the two problems, of course, as it goes with everything.
Mm.
Okay, so it does seem to me sometimes. So let me take a look at your. at your foot here. So yeah. So show me that again, please.
So you got
Use the samba rhythm.
1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1. 1E and 2E and 3E.
Drop the heel a little more when you play the second stroke of each double. Just
Right.
go a little slower so you can control the motions a little more.
1E and 2E and 3E
A
and
little slower, a little slower, a little slower, a little slower.
1E and 2E and 3E.
The heel for the second strokes. No, the second. Wait, hold on. You're doing it backwards. The heel drops at the second note of each double, not the first.
Right.
Because otherwise you put the weight off the second stroke and then it's going to get more difficult.
Okay. So is that the on the as, isn't it? Yeah.
No, that's the first of the double.
Right, on the second. Right.
Not
So
the second note, the second stroke of the double.
right. Right. So it's 1E, and
Now drop. The other way. Okay, look at my foot. Look at my foot. Look at my foot. 1E and 2. Drop.
okay.
1E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1.
So we've got 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E. And
No, you're doing it backwards. You're
Right.
lifting on the numbers. You should be dropping on the numbers.
Right.
So this is we're gonna continue with the samba pattern. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add eighth notes to the hi-hat. So you'll still have the opportunity to correct that because you're performing the motion backwards. The drop is at the second note of the double, not the first. Okay.
Right.
So questions before I move on from anyone else? We're good? All right. So, samba pattern now with eighth notes on the hi-hat. Okay, we're going to make this a bit more applicable. So, we'll have 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E. Okay, let's do that with a click. Remember to use the ankle. Remember to drop the heel so slightly for the second stroke of each one of those doubles. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. I can't see your foot, Derek. Derek, you got something in front of the... Yeah. Keep the doubles nice and open, nice and spaced apart. a two, and a three, and a four, bring the heel up for the us and drop it a little bit for the numbers. Okay. So now questions before we move on to the shuffle. Any feedback, Derek, from what we talked about?
Yeah, I'm still inverting it.
Well, every single one of these buttons will give you a chance to fix that. The next one is the shuffle. So now we have a triplet subdivision. Technique will be the same. We're just changing the feel, and that's important that we expose our technique to different rhythmic patterns, because it's going to give us different understandings on when to set up certain movements. It's going to force us to space things differently. So here's the shuffle, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, everyone can give that a go for a minute and then we'll do it together. Try not to let go of the pedal board as you're performing the bound, that rocking motion of the lower leg. Just always try to keep the foot engaged with the pedal board. The heel can be a little higher for the first one. Bring the foot down a bit. Sorry, down the pedal board. Yes, I should have been more specific. Heel up. Good. Now play the first one. Slide up. That's it. That's it. And then the heel drop can be managed so it doesn't fully drop. But that's it. That's it. That's it. Right there. Raise the heel a bit. That's it. Use the calf muscles. Same thing for you, Ben. The heel can drop a little less. So the second stroke is almost becoming a bit of a flat-footed stroke. You still want to just make contact with the ball of your foot. So go a little slower there just for now so we can take a look at the technique. Now let's just do one at a time. So bring the foot down, the pedal a little more. That's it. Now raise the heel. Okay, now give me the first stroke right there. Now slide. And then the second one, that's it. I would also say, Ben, it seems to me that your spring is a little tight as well. So the beater is very, very a bit nervous. I can see that it's not so much the foot, it's the beater. So that tells me that the spring is a little tight. So you might want to loosen that a touch after the class, because it will be easier on your foot as well. Okay, because I can see when you play, you're getting a lot of recoil. That's the spring. But to reinforce this technique, I would say for all of you, for now, feel free to dig that beater into the skin at the second stroke, so you can really feel the landing. You know what I mean? And keep it on the skin. That's it. That's going to force you to be a bit more sturdy with the motions. You know. Okay, so let's do this together. I'm gonna keep on going around checking on everyone's techniques. All right, so eighth note triplets. Tempo will be 60 BPM. So remember, couple of thoughts here. Bring the heel a little higher for the first one, and we might be overly dramatizing the motion, but that's okay. We want to exaggerate these motions now. We want to perform them very openly. So when it gets fast, we don't feel tight and very constricted, okay? So really raise that heel nice and high. And then the second stroke, the heel drops a bit, but not fully. It's not a resting position. We're still engaged. And do keep the beater on the skin after the second stroke. So that way you can feel yourself landing nice and strong. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Good. Okay. Then we have a very interesting exercise that I'm a big fan of. Some of you already have done this already before with me, so it's going to be a good opportunity to revisit that and adjust techniques. It's the double beat. Now, this is a classic exercise. It's been around for many years because it's often used as a way to calibrate drum lines. In other words, these guys in drum lines would line up and then they would play this, not with the hi-hats or anything like that, because obviously it's a drum line. They would play this, say, on the snare drum as doubles, so right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, all together until they don't hear any flams between them. So it's a classic exercise. In this case, we've transposed those double strokes over to the bass drum. We've put hi-hats playing eighth notes, and there's a snare drum at 2 and 4. So it's quite a fun exercise to learn. It's challenging from the coordination standpoint, but once that's going, the coordination is going, then it's a really good one to get these motions rolling nice and quick. All right, so as always, because this one is a little sneakier, I'm going to give you guys maybe 3 minutes for you guys to try this out. Just one quick thing. The first and the second bars are exactly the same, but the third and fourth bars are not. So the third and fourth bars sort of extend that pattern across the two bars. So if you look at the first bar at the top, that pattern goes bass drum on the 1E, then a 2, and E and then 4 and. So it's got a bit of a resolution pattern there at the end with the 2/8 notes. Second bar repeats 1E, a 2, and a E and 4 and resolves again. Then the third bar, that pattern of playing two notes and skipping a 16th note, then goes over the bar line and it only resolves at the 4 and of the fourth bar. So it's 1E starting at the third bar, 1E and 1E, a 2, and a E and 4E, a 1, and a E and 3E, a 4 and. So it extends, it keeps on going until you hit the fourth beat of the fourth bar. Just a heads up. All right, so that should be it. Unless anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask away. If not, 3 minutes for you guys to try that out. Alrighty, so before we do this together, do we have any questions? No? We're all good? Okay. So, what I'd like to do is play this very slowly, and let's just focus on the very first bar, actually, for now. And although I'm a big fan of playing the whole thing, it can be a little difficult to, to just learn in 3 minutes. So let's just focus on that first bar and perform, or even the first line because it's the same, and perform that as a loop in itself. Starting very, very slow. Here we go. So 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the Okay, so even at a slow tempo, we still want to engage with those different heel heights, up and down, up and down. It's going to be very helpful once we put this to a faster pace. Okay, now the double beat exercise is a very helpful one to practice. It really gives us a good workout. But I want to show you guys an exercise here that is quite interesting for us to explore because it's gonna force us to change where to place the foot on the pedal board. So we already talked about this a few times. If you have your foot further up the pedal, then that's easier for slower tempos because you get more control over the pedal board. But for faster tempos, it helps to bring the foot down because you get a bit more of a bouncy effect. But of course, we need to find those sweet spots. There's no specific, laser-focused place where if you put the foot there, it's going to be amazing for this or that. It's all about you guys exploring where those sweet spots are. But broadly speaking, up the pedal, better for slower tempos. Down the pedal board, better for faster tempos. So the next exercise is actually going to combine these two things. I used an exercise that actually had nothing to do with bass drum. Let me just move this out of the way for now. It's even time, double time exercise. So actually, both lines are the same groove, but the top one is in even time feel, and the bottom one is in double time feel. Exactly same thing. The hi-hats don't change, but everything goes into double time feel in the bottom line. Now, the whole point of this is that when you're playing the top line, because it's the even time feel one, so quote unquote slower, your foot will be farther up the pedal. When we play then the double time feel one, we're going to bring that foot down the pedal a touch. So that way you have a very structured way to know when to move the foot up and down. Top line, up the pedal, bottom line, down the pedal. You're going to see how that's going to show you different feels. The pedal board is going to give you different feels. And it's good for us to try those things out. Okay, so let me show you here exactly what this would look like. So the first line, that's the even time one, which is just this, by the way. I'm keeping my foot right there, and I'm playing basically just heel up strokes, okay? Nothing too fancy. And now, second line. Up. And down. Up. Down. Etc. Okay, that's the whole logic of that exercise. Okay, so this should be pretty straightforward, so let's just get straight into it. One, two, three, and four, and down. Up. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Okay. Really good exercise to really organize those movements. So you don't just go by whatever feels right at any given moment, at least not for now, because we're still learning how to control these things. And instead, you've got a very structured way. And it's built in a way that really shows you why it's beneficial to bring the foot down the pedal a bit, since that second line, it feels faster because of the double time feel. Okay, so obviously, as per usual, running out of time. Next exercise, I think the next one will be the triple strokes. Yes, it is. Triples. Yes. So, triple strokes. All right, hold on. There we go. Let me just move my foot camera out of the way. First exercise will be very simple. We'll play 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Now what really matters here are the motions. Okay? So, we have 3 strokes to play. The first one will be a downstroke, so we revert back to what we talked about. We talked about that last week a bit, but also whenever we did the last workshop on bass drum technique. We have 4 fundamental motions: full, down, up, and taps. So full, down, up, and tap. Okay, full, down, tap, and up. This exercise today, we'll use 3 of them. So we'll have a downstroke. So the heel starts high, it drops, and it rests on the heel plate now, and the beater is off the skin. Now remember what I said last week. Don't leave a gap between the ball of your foot and the pedal board. We don't want to see any wobbly pedal boards. So when you drop, keep that foot on the pedal board so you don't get this. So you don't want to see this. Okay, this is what not to do. We want to see this instead. Okay, so we got to learn to match the range of motion of the pedal board with our foot. Okay, so that's the first one. Second stroke on the E will be a tap. So, as simple as this. Beater comes back again. Boom, job done. Tap stroke. Nice and control. Okay. Third stroke on the and will be an upstroke. So heel starts low, beater off the skin, and now we are going to raise our heel and that way transfer the weight back to the front of the foot. And that gives you another stroke. Okay. Try not to put your feet too close to the skin. Bring it not all the way down here, but you know, you see where my heel is resting on my heel plate. It's aligned with it. Yeah. Okay, so down, tap, up. Down, tap, up. Down, tap, up. Okay, so now our pattern is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap. You're missing the tap, Derek. Down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, up. That's it. Down, tap, up, down, tap, up. That's it. Down, tap, up, bum, bum, bum. Okay. All right, so questions so far. Okay, let's go around the room here, so to speak. You can unmute yourself, Derek. Let's just go through the motions there. So play that for me again, because you corrected it, but at first you were skipping the tap, so just want to make sure it's clear.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can, yeah.
Right. So we've got down, tap, up. Yeah. Down, tap, up.
Oh, that's not a tap. That's not a tap. That's the one that you're skipping. You're skipping the tap.
So we've got
You're
down.
doing down, up, and that's going to be a problem because you can't go from an up to another up.
Yeah. So we've got down, tap, up.
Yeah,
Down, tap, up.
that's it.
Down, tap, up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely need to loosen that spring. It's too tight. I think both you and Ben have the springs too tight. So we're getting a lot of that. The beater is very nervous at the front there.
Okay. So down, tap, up. Ah, yeah. So you're getting that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's because when you're putting weight at the so remember, guys, this is the spring is there to create the recoil effect, and then our feet create the counterweight. Whenever you see a lot of that resistance coming from the pedal, it means that the spring is actually outweighing the weight of your foot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So either we need to put more mass on the pedal, as in a bit more strength, but I don't see that as being the case. By looking at the motion looks good, looks relaxed, which means it's producing its natural weight, which is what we want. So we need to reduce the amount of resistance that's coming from the spring.
Yeah. Some of it is my ankle motion as well, to my ankle. Whoa.
No, it's not. It looks perfectly fine. Ben's pedal it was doing the same. He's
Right,
dropping
okay.
the foot nice and heavy. Because look, the weight that you want to use for these things is dead weight, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
want to put like a lot of strain on it. Like I'm not pushing down really hard. It's all just I just drop my leg, right? And the reason why I don't, and even when I dig into the skin, right? The reason why you guys don't see that beater doing this, because the weight created by the springs tension is not outweighing the weight of my leg. So whenever I put my leg on the pedal, I win, right?
Right, yeah, I'm with you.
Right? And that's the balance we need to find there, where the spring is going to give you this when you let go. Right, so because Alex's, for example, last week I said it was too slack, which then
Yeah.
he told me that he had realized that his spring was broken or he needed another one. So you don't want the beater to just fall back all floppy.
Yeah.
But when I put my foot on it, I don't want that spring fighting me. So
Yeah.
it's fighting that sweet spot right there.
I mean, I've adjusted. I can feel different. I think I overcompensate because of other aspects, but yeah, I can feel that.
Right, you need to loosen the spring a little more.
Yeah, I've done it.
Well, you've done that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so play the down tap up motion again.
So you got down, tap, up.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
it's already gone. That little
Yeah,
those residual notes are gone already. Do it
Yeah.
again.
that full. Right. Okay. So we got down, tap, up.
When you do the tap, just make sure that you let the beater come back. So down, tap, and let the beater come back so it doesn't rest too close to the skin. Because otherwise, when you go for the up, the beater is going to be a bit too close and you're going to lose volume.
See, just do that one more time. I just didn't quite see the screen when you did it.
The tap, when you go
Yeah,
for the tap,
Yeah.
so you're going to start with the beater all the way back here.
Yeah.
You're going to tap and then allow the beater to come back to where it came from.
So
Not instead of, just so you see the difference. We don't want the beater to come off the skin but still stay too close. Let it come back. Okay.
I'm with you. And then go, yeah.
Because otherwise you have a bit of compromise starting place for the upstroke.
I suppose timing wise, you've basically got one and two, haven't you? You got the downstroke on one, then your tap stroke on the A to come. No,
On
no,
the no,
no, no, no.
on the E.
Hmm.
In
Yeah.
this case, is on the E.
Yeah,
Okay, this is the pattern.
yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. One, yeah. One, E, A.
Oh, watch the tap. Yeah.
Yeah. No. One, E, and
All right, we're leaving a bit. So do that again. So everyone can see this. This is important for everyone to watch. Watch this. Do that again. No. Start with the beater on the skin.
right.
Yeah. Because that's what we talked about last week. It gives you a bit extra support, right? So now drop.
Tap.
Good. Tap. Up. Good. Again.
So, well, one,
Oops. Tap. Tap.
yeah. One,
Okay. Pause there. Did you guys see that? Do that again.
one,
Okay. Pause. See how the pedal board is wobbling under your foot?
yeah.
Don't move your foot up. That's fine.
Right.
Keep your heel aligned with your heel plate. Move it forwards a bit. No, backwards. That's it. Perfect. Right there. Now start again. Beater on the skin. Drop. That's it. And control that pedal board. Now tap. No, that's not a tap.
Yeah.
Right. The tap needs work. Right. The tap every now and then hesitates and goes into an up.
Hmm.
Okay. But I think we've covered so much today that I'm going to stop right here with giving you guys new material. And I'm going to just open the floor for questions. I had more stuff for today, which was around the triple strokes anyway, but I'm going to stop here because it's 1 o'clock first of all. And the next chapter is even more complex. So I'm going to pause there so you guys can spend the week learning those movements. So questions from
Are you going to
anyone?
post this material like the previous?
I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't know when, but I will. Ben, any questions? He's just jamming. He's just playing the drums. Alex,
So what? Oh, come.
yeah, go on, Derek.
No, I'm saying like I'm not sure what tension to have because it's an electronic pad for the bass drum. I'm not sure what tension to have the skin. Would that affect the? Because there's not really, you know what I mean, when you tension an acoustic skin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about an electronic skin whether I've got it maybe a bit tight, so it's. I don't know. I'm not sure.
What you always want is to have it as close to an acoustic skin as possible.
Right.
That's the rule of thumb. Right? So how would you have the tension for an acoustic skin?
Not properly. I used. It wants to be quite loose, so you get because obviously if something's tight and you're eating it, then you basically the energy that's created in the skin's gonna fire it back. So I think I need to adjust it,
Yeah.
backing it off.
Yeah, I would agree, right? The bass drum skin you want it's not just for the sound for the rebound effect, but also, the bass drum typically it's always a subjective issue, but typically would be a very low pitched drum.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need those skins to be nice and loose to give you that note. Right. So yeah. All right, any other questions? No, no, no. All right, in that case, you guys got plenty to work on. We talked about doubles, we've talked about triples. Next week, we'll cover a bit more of these triple strokes, but then we are going to get into the dynamic control on the bass drum pedal. So, playing accents and ghost notes with the foot. And that's that. Job done.
Well,